Okay, Club Brugge beat Aston Villa 1-0 through a penalty. And the penalty that they considered was because Tyrone Mings stopped the ball thinking that he's going to restart play himself with a goal kick. However, Martinez had clearly played the ball, so the referee gave a penalty, and that was the correct decision. This brings me to Arsenal last season when Gabriel did the same thing, and the referee said it was a kid's mistake and therefore felt that it would be unfair to punish Arsenal. So I guess what he was trying to say is that ethically and morally, we can let that one slide. And obviously, that could have also cost Tuchel his job. It contributed to the narrative results that Tuchel got. I mean, they did get through at the end of the day, but come on. Come on. This is professional football at the highest level, UEFA Champions League. You have to be switched on at all times. And I do think the referees made the right decision in calling for a penalty. And therefore, last season, like I said at the time, Gabriel should have been punished for that. Arsenal should have been punished for that. You argue with Arsenal fans, they will tell you that no, come on, we can't play football like that. Giving a penalty for that is anti-football or whatever. Because Arsenal fans do not want to admit when they've benefited anything, but they're the first to cry when things go against them. But when things don't, we don't stop hearing about it. Arsenal fans will complain about a throw-in that don't go their way. Like the very minute things that happened long ago in the game that does not even contribute to the result. That brings me to my next point. Arsenal loses 1-0 to Inter Milan. And my case in point, you hear Arsenal fans and Arteta literally screaming about the fact that Arsenal should have had a penalty in the incident of Jan Sommer taking out Mikel Moreno. And I agree, it is a penalty. It is a foul. The keeper came out. He didn't get the ball. He got the man. So for me, easy penalty. It should have been given. So yes, you were hard done by there. That probably did maybe also change the flow of the game, because if Arsenal get that, they can go 1-0 up first before Inter Milan do get their penalty. So yes, I agree and I sympathize with you there. This is a penalty incident and it should have been given. Why it wasn't, was it the clear and obvious thing? I don't know. But I do think even VAR should intervene to give you a penalty there. I agree. And by the way, it is a penalty. Clearly, Moreno's hand was not in a natural position. Some Arsenal fans would want to argue proximity. That's okay. However, it's clear in the Champions League that the mandate is there's barely anything called ball to hand. They always punish handballs. They always punish handballs. And that one was clear as day. And I think it's a good decision by the referees to give a penalty. I do think, his hand is clearly outstretched. And I do think it's fair that a penalty was given in this case. But if you are trying to argue that the proximity and maybe his hand is still in a natural position, just know that in Champions League they don't do that. They punish almost even the most harsh handballs or ball to hands. They do that. That's the Champions League mandate, and there's nothing we can do to change that. So it is consistent with Champions League that a penalty was given. Arteta and his football is taking us all to sleep. His anti-football tactics, haram ball. We were talking about Ten Hag and the fact that Ten Hag and Ten Haram and calling him Ten Haram. But Arteta, what type of football is this? This is anti-football and it's not getting results, right? It looks like there's no way that Arsenal win a major trophy this season because they're so off form.
To me, next season we can win the quadruple. People might laugh because
quadruple.
Absolutely.
If they couldn't win the trophy the past 2 seasons with the start that they had, I doubt that they will be able to rise to get to their top form again this season so that they can win any major trophy. There's no way for me Arsenal, while playing like this, win UEFA Champions League, and I don't think there's any way Arsenal win Premier League while playing like this. I'm so sorry. City can usually come back. Usually City around November, someone releases City's in a crisis video, and then they get themselves together and they go on a title charge and win the league. So I don't know. I just think for Arsenal fans, just reflect on your own team. I think Arsenal needs to do that. Reflect on their own team. Analyze. I've been saying this for 3 weeks now. Look at where you are. Look at what you need to improve, because now things are becoming clear. It is clear that you need maybe a striker. Maybe you need a proper number 9. Maybe can you plan on going out in January and attacking someone like Ollie Watkins, like Alexander Isak, like Victor Gyökeres? Yes, the Sporting manager has come out and said he's going to force Sporting and Victor Gyökeres to stay until the end of the season, but at least put some pressure on maybe getting a number 9, because we know Jesus ain't working and we know Kai Havertz ain't really a number 9. And if Arsenal aren't playing free-flowing football, then I don't think Kai Havertz can be effective. In the transfer market, they really just went out and bought Calafiori and Mikel Moreno. That's more defensive reinforcements, when I think it was clear that their defense was completely fine, and Arteta's tactics makes their defense fine. That's their biggest asset. But in this case, sometimes you're going to have tight games, and you're going to need one person that's able to just put the ball in the net. And we know consistently that Kai Havertz ain't necessarily that type of player. I think Kai Havertz plays well when Arsenal play well. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say. Sometimes you need someone like an Erling Haaland, where if he just gets one touch in the box, it's one goal. So, things like that. So, yeah, with that being said, Arsenal are going through a very difficult phase right now. I don't think it's the end of the world, but I don't think that the season is now looking positive for them. I do think they can, yes, still get themselves together and start playing proper football and getting results. But I do doubt their abilities to go all the way to win trophies that they couldn't win while they were on top form in the past 2 seasons. I do think these fixtures actually highlight the type of football that Arteta was going to play, and they were probably a little bit more predictable in terms that they were going to be tight. Besides Bournemouth, which was a freak result, you know that going to Newcastle away, Eddie Howe is going to make it a very tight game. And if Arsenal don't have that number 9 or that person that takes their chances, that if Newcastle get a chance, they have an Isak who's a natural finisher. He took his chance, he scored. The game ended 1-0. Right? Arsenal, most of the time as well, were not playing great football. Against Inter Milan, it's the same thing. Arsenal conceded a penalty. Inzaghi and Inter Milan were always going to make it a tight game, defensive game. And if they don't have the player like Odegaard to break down a defense like Inter Milan, or a number 9 that takes his opportunity, then they're always going to lose the game. It finished 1-0 again. You draw back to Atalanta, the first game of the UCL season, when Arteta was playing the same type of football. David Raya saved a penalty, and Arsenal could have lost that game as well because they didn't really create chances. The XG was so bad, and that indicates how Arsenal are playing, especially when they go to the more difficult away games. You look at the stat that in 2024, Arsenal have played 4 away games. They scored 0 goals, and they've won neither of them. That just shows you it's because Arteta goes there to try and be solid first. He doesn't necessarily take risks or want to risk losing the game to try win it. He does not want to play open. He does not want to attack, and at least attack in a free way. His main concern is not losing the game rather than trying to win it. And that is a good stat to see. And I think together with the recent form, you are able to see that Arsenal, when they play away, they try to be more defensively solid first. And for me, there's nothing wrong with that, of course, nothing wrong with that. But there's times where if you want to be, successful in what you're trying to do, you're going to have to win these away games. If you want to win Champions League, if you want to win the Premier League, you have to start winning away games. If you remember, Gary Neville said the same thing about Arsenal going to City away and winning, and that started obviously the rivalry with Rodri, talking about mentality. Arsenal didn't end up winning the game, but if they risked trying to win the game, and imagine if they did, they literally win the league. They take the point of City and they get points themselves that would have made sure that they won the league, all things staying the same. I do think Arteta needs to tweak his tactics a little bit, just to at least try and risk winning games away. Literally take the risk and try and impose your game and be attacking away. Lookman scored as Atalanta won, and I think I love the fact that Lookman has scored in back-to-back games since people had criticized his top finish in Ballon d'Or. I think he's backing himself up, and he's backing the accolade that he got, let's say finishing 14th or something was an accolade. He's backing that up. Now he's scored 3 goals in 2 games, I believe. So congratulations to Lookman, and he's silencing his haters, silencing the critics, silencing the haters. I love that. In the rest of your results, PSG lost to Atletico Madrid. Is usually a standard. PSG up against the bigger team in UCL. They will buckle. PSG this season are a dead club, and I don't know if we should spend much time talking about them, especially after they've lost 3 superstars in a row, Messi, Neymar, and now Mbappe. It looks like there isn't a lot of headlines when it comes to PSG, but they're also not playing well as well. They don't have the players to carry the team. Atletico Madrid get some much needed points. They were also languishing way low in the table, and they need to start climbing. I do think though that there are some shocking teams in the top 8 currently sitting in this new Champions League format, and they are doing really well. They just need a few more points, and at least I do think they will secure their automatic spot. But I do think that there is still huge chances for a lot of teams to qualify in for that at least knockout phase for the round of 16 playoff, because they're literally taking number 9 to 24. So all the teams really have a chance to make it there. But I do think that is maybe like a low for the Champions League format, because it still gives big teams chances to qualify even after they've played bad. Bayern won 1-0, but the news are overshadowed by the death of a fan in the stands on their way to hospital after a medical emergency. So we send our condolences to their family. So yeah, unfortunately, that is negative news. A fan passed away at the stadium. That's never something that we want to see. So our condolences, our serious, heartfelt, sincerest condolences to the family. With that being said, that is the league table. That's your game week 4 wrapped up now. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please let me know what you think. Obviously, this main video was about Arsenal. Please let me know what you think. And yeah, subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.